So, let's talk about one of the most famous miracles in history. But what if I told you it wasn't just an act of compassion? What if it was a deliberate, high-stakes move specifically designed to provoke a fatal showdown?
Okay, so how does this even happen? How can one single event, giving a man his life back, be the very thing that seals someone else's death warrant? Well, it all starts with a very strange and, frankly, a very dangerous decision. So Jesus gets word that his good friend Lazarus is sick, like really sick. And his response, it makes no sense. In fact, his disciples are not just confused by it, they think it's an incredibly risky, even suicidal move. Just look at this timeline. He gets the urgent message on day 0, and then he just waits for 2 whole days. He deliberately stalls. Now think about what that means. This delay guarantees that by the time he finally gets to Bethany, Lazarus isn't just sick anymore. He's been in the tomb for 4 days. He is undeniably, irreversibly dead.
And here's the thing. Jesus tells us exactly why he's waiting. Right from the get-go, he frames this whole situation. He's saying, look, this isn't about neglect. This is a setup. It's a setup for something way bigger than just healing a sickness. It's for the glory of God.
His disciples, they are absolutely terrified. They're like, Rabbi, are you crazy? They just tried to stone you there, and you want to go back? Even Thomas, in this moment of just grim loyalty, basically says, fine, let's all go so we can die with him. The tension here is just off the charts.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Jesus finally arrives in Bethany, and he's not met with a welcome party, that's for sure. He walks straight into a scene of raw, unfiltered grief and some very pointed questions from Lazarus' sisters, Martha and Mary.
And listen to this. Both sisters greet him with the exact same heartbreaking line. Can you imagine? It's more than just a statement of fact. It's an accusation wrapped in sorrow. They're basically saying, you could have stopped this. Why didn't you?
But Jesus doesn't apologize. He doesn't make excuses for the delay. Instead, he hits back with one of the most powerful and really central claims he ever makes. He completely reframes the situation from one man's death to a universal promise about life itself. And then he turns it right back on Martha. Do you believe this?
And yet, right after making this huge divine claim about being the resurrection and the life, he sees Mary's grief, he sees the crowd weeping, and his reaction is just so powerfully human. He breaks down. He weeps. So moved by this deep emotion, Jesus heads to the tomb. And what happens next isn't some quiet, private moment. No, this is a show. It's designed from the ground up to be a public, unambiguous, and absolutely undeniable display of power. And this is why that 4-day delay we talked about was so critical. Martha even tries to stop him, saying, Lord, by this time there's a bad odor. See, in the culture of the time, 3 days was the limit. After 3 days, the soul was gone, decay had set in. By waiting until the 4th day, Jesus eliminated any shred of doubt. There was no way to explain this away. And just look at how this unfolds. It's a sequence of clear, authoritative commands. First, the order, take away the stone. Then, a prayer said out loud specifically for the benefit of the crowd, so they know where this power is coming from. Third, that incredible call into the darkness. Lazarus, come out. And finally, the release. Take off the grave clothes and let him go. Every single step is public and deliberate.
Now you'd think seeing a man walk out of his own tomb would bring everyone together, right? Wrong. This incredible act of life doesn't create unity. It instantly shatters the crowd of eyewitnesses, splitting them into 2 completely opposite camps.
So you get this incredible split. For a lot of the people there, this was it, the final proof. They saw it and they believed. But for others, the reaction wasn't faith. It was fear. They saw this raw display of power not as salvation, but as a dangerous threat that had to be reported to the authorities right away. And that report? That's the final straw. It's the catalyst that triggers an emergency meeting of the Sanhedrin, which was basically the supreme court of the Jewish people. They gathered to decide what on earth they're going to do about this man who can apparently bring people back from the dead.
Now, what's fascinating is that their fear isn't just about religion. It's intensely political. You have to remember, Judea at this time is a powder keg under Roman rule. And the Sanhedrin, they're not even denying the miracle happened. They accept it as a fact. Their panic is, if this guy gets any more popular, the people might try to make him a king, the Romans will see that as an insurrection, and they'll come down and crush them, destroying their temple and their nation.
And that's when the high priest, Caiaphas, just cuts right to the chase.
He lays it out in the most stark, pragmatic terms possible. It's a cold, political calculation. For him, the choice is simple. Sacrifice one man to save the entire nation.
And there it is. The text draws a direct, unbroken line from the raising of Lazarus straight to the official plot to have Jesus killed. This one spectacular miracle, designed to bring glory to God, becomes the specific, documented trigger that sets the whole final, fatal plan in motion. So it leaves us with this really fascinating, kind of jarring question to think about. How can an act of ultimate creation, of life itself, be the very thing that triggers an act of destruction? It's a powerful reminder of how one person's miracle can be another person's threat, a threat so great that it demands to be destroyed.